Hey everyone, how's it going? Hopefully fantastic. We're back and we're live. Well, I don't know if we're live, but you're listening to us on a podcast. This is Jeff and Jami, and we are excited that it's February.
We are. In Georgia, February means spring. I know that doesn't mean it for a lot of other people, but here we are already starting to see spring, and it's happy.
Spring is happy. Well, because you are enjoying the daffodils that came up the other day. We were out on our run, and you saw the daffodils that were up there.
And after living for so many years in Colorado and the Midwest, where you just endure February, to see flowers at the beginning of February is just, I don't know, it's like this special gift every year.
Yeah,
Hi.
to all our friends in Colorado who are enduring the snowstorms, we feel for you.
We remember.
But you may be enjoying those snowstorms, which we appreciate.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it is nice to have beautiful spring weather in February.
It is.
As we've been looking at and discussing streaking over the last month, as we've been continuing, and by the way, the book is getting close to completion. We're almost there.
Yay.
We've been working on the book every day by writing at least one sentence daily.
Yes. And can we tell them the secret about the app?
Oh yeah, tell them the secret of the app.
We have an app. Well, we're close to having an app.
We're close to having an app. Yeah. Well, what were you going to say more about it, or was
Nope,
it
just that. We're actually going to have an app. I'm most excited about that. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. I think that you could be excited about that. Jamie's actually been wanting an app for quite some time, but why?
Because I want help keeping track. It's great to be able to keep track of things. So an app that makes it easier so that part is taken care of and it just makes it one step easier is helps you just be better.
And there's one app out there right now. It's called Streaks, that you can record up to 12 streaks. It's a little bit different in that it treats streaks like a task. However, it does have the somewhat of the concept of streaking in the sense that you put in 12 different streaks that you'll do in a day or in a week or whatever, and you can have a number of them. But it's a decent app. I wouldn't take anything away from it.
It's pretty good.
The one that we're currently working on and developing,
maybe we should call it Just Checking the Box.
Just checking the box.
Because that's what we're going to talk about today.
Probably not going to call it
Not
Just
going to
Checking
call
the
it
Box.
Just Checking the Box. Okay. It's just an idea.
Well, but I think that brings up the question of what it was that we wanted to discuss today. And that was from something that you asked me on our morning run.
Yeah, it was. So I was reading an article or listening to something. I can't remember what it was. And the person mentioned how important it is that you're not just doing things to just check the box, that it needs to be more than that. And so as I was thinking about that, I thought, streaking sometimes is checking the box. So why is that not okay? And I just was thinking to you.
Well, and I think you were also saying is, what do we say to those people?
Yeah, what do we say when we're just like, well, you're just checking the box. That's not really going to do anything or mean anything.
And here was my answer. I mean, it's basically, you're right. We're checking a box. And in fact, one of the things that I look at as far as the reason that I'm even checking the box, the reason that I even have it on there is because it's important to me. It's something that I definitely do not want to miss, one. And two, I want it to be deliberate and intentional because it's shaping who it is I want to be. So as I look at checking the box, and by the way, we're going to talk just a little bit more about checking the box is an important part. At least I'm doing that much. And I go back to Lily. We talked about this in an earlier podcast about how Lily one day came into you and said that she had broken her streak. Or what was it that happened?
Yeah, she'd had a streak that she had had for 82 days. And I asked her how it was going, and she said, I stopped it. And I asked her why. And she goes, well, I was just doing the minimum every day. So I kind of felt like it really wasn't making a difference.
And how's she doing? And then
my next question was, since you've broken that streak, and I think this was actually a couple weeks later, I asked her, I said, so since you broke your streak, have you been doing more than what you had been doing when you had the streak? And she kind of sheepishly looked down and she's like, no, actually, I haven't even done anything since I broke the streak. And so that was my question to you this morning too, is that what is it inside of us that feels or that fuels this belief that doing the small thing, that, you know, something so small and then you just check the box each day, that when you do that for a certain number of days, what happens that you start to think, okay, I'm not making a difference. It's not big enough. And so like in Lily's example, she would quit and not do anything rather than rather than doing what she was doing. And that's what we kind of were talking about today, where we're looking at going, okay, so there are things as we do streaking and as we do it purposely, every day it is important that you check the box to show that you've done it. And that when you do that, you're making progress.
I look at it, and if I could do one thing as far as streaking is concerned, I look at and think I would want to eliminate in everyone's vocabulary the word just.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the box. I'm just doing the minimum. I'm just reading one paragraph. I'm just writing one sentence. Because what's happening is I believe that the focus is on the wrong thing. And the thing on which we focus is about the consistency. Now, in the streaking laws, so streaking law number one, in the streaking laws, number one is do something that's laughably simple. Number two is record, no record, no streak, record it. And number three is create a community around it. You do those three things, and the counterintuitive part about all of that is that you're recording that you've done something small, simple, laughably simple. I wrote a sentence today. I read a paragraph today. For you, I wrote in my journal today once. Mm-hmm. I walked or ran 1 mile today.
Or I looked up a design element, one small element of design today.
And so you can naturally just start to ask the question, and this is where you got to this morning too, because one of your other streaks, as far as in relationships, you want to think about, or what is it, just one thing daily in relationships or in how that is?
Yeah, I have a streak that it's just there's certain people that I want to just kind of pay attention to, I guess.
And so your streak, though, is to do one activity, or what is it?
One, it's just to think about that person once throughout the day.
At least once daily.
At least once daily.
Now, think about how small and simple that is. I mean,
it's very small and simple. And so it's probably that of all the streaks I have, that's probably the one that why I'm kind of stuttering as you're talking about it, is because it's the one that I'm least wanting people to know about, because sometimes I look at it and I
have a way of bringing out these streaks in her. See, you should see her cheeks right now. They are full flush red.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's the one that I think very important to me, but sometimes can have the least visible amount of progress.
Okay, I want to pause right there. I want to pause. Visible. Mm-hmm. One of the things about streaking that we have recognized and see over the years is that if you're going for visible, if you're going for big and beautiful in a short period of time, in an amount of time that you would consider, well, basically I consider and look at as a goal. If you're trying to close a gap, if you're trying to get somewhere quickly, that is not what streaking is about. And we had this debate and conversation. It relates back to our last podcast on the difference between goals and habits and streaks. A goal is a good thing. I think a lot of people call something a goal that really isn't a goal, though.
I agree.
And habits can be good things. There can be bad habits and good habits.
But striving to have good habits in your life is something I think all of us want to do. Yeah.
And you were a little bit on me to say we don't want to downplay, or not even downplay, but we don't want to degrade, make derogatory the word goal, or
yeah. Well, I guess I felt is that as we've talked about this again, finding that place where a goal has a place, a habit has a place, and a streak has a place. And though there may be some places that they overlap a little bit, they are not the same. They don't occupy the exact same space because you use them for different things. And so
I like the way that you just said that, and I want to highlight it as far as they do not occupy the same space. They all work in concert with one another, but just like the keys on a piano keyboard, each one has a little bit different tone, and those tones together all work to harmonize towards something that's quite beautiful. Right. A streak, a habit, and a goal, when played together, are the perfect chord. Mm-hmm. A goal covers a gap or allows you to get a certain gain within a period of time. A habit is something that's automatic. In other words, I really don't think about doing it. And there's things that I may do to train myself to be automatic. And a streak is something that is deliberate, It's not automatic. I'm going to record that I'm doing it. I'm going to create a community around it. And in fact, if I were not doing those things, I probably would not do the streak. I wouldn't do it anymore. In other words, it's not automatic.
I don't know that you could guarantee that you would keep doing that thing if you didn't keep track of it as a streak.
Right.
And
that is why I go back to and look at and the word just. Okay. I just did this. I just did that. If we could eliminate that from our psyche, looking at and considering that the small and simple thing, the smallest, most laughably simple thing can be and is, well, when done consistently, the most powerful thing that you can do. It's the reason why I love the whole arena of stalactites and stalagmites.
Right.
If you've ever been spelunking and gone down into some of the most fantastic caverns in the earth, you've seen stalactites, stalagmites, and columns. What's interesting about each one of those is that it's a drop a day, sometimes maybe even 2 drops a day, over millennia of time that form these beautiful stalactites and stalagmites that also have different colors and different shapes and different ways of looking at them. They're just beautiful. And eventually, when they meet together, the stalactite and the stalagmite, because the mite grows from the bottom and the stalactite from the ceiling, they become a column. This is what makes them fantastic, is the amount of time. Well, let's put it this way. Progress is not measured by what they accomplish in a short period of time. Progress is measured as far as what happens small and simple over a long period of time.
Right. And that's what we were discussing this morning as we were looking at it and saying this concept of, well, you're just checking the box. You're just doing it to get it done. It's not really, you're not seeing perceptible progress or improvement. And as we've talked about that, I think this is something that's so important to keep talking about, because this idea of perceptible improvement is something that is so powerful in society, and this idea that you've got to be able to have a measurable improvement. So in that regards, when you want measurable improvement in the task, you set a goal. When you're trying to get, I'm right here and I want to get to here and I want to do it in this much time, that's a goal. When you want to be consistent, when you want to look at something and say, I have been doing this same thing for this many days or this many months or this many years, that's what a streak does. And then the power of the progress of that streak comes in as you've kept a record of that. You go back and you look at that and think, I have done that thing every single day.
So I want to bring up a little point here. We were, this is about 1.5 years ago. And I brought this up before. We had a little bit of a challenge from an individual that didn't particularly agree with what streaking produced. And one of the contention was that how can, say, for example, writing a small sentence daily make any kind of a difference whatsoever? Now, in the example, the individual wrote and said, if I wrote that I'm an idiot every single day, I don't see how that would have any kind of appreciable impact in my life. And I was taken back by that.
I remember.
It was quite an assertion, and it was quite significant, because think about this. If you started writing today, I'm an idiot, every single day, what do you think that might do to you in a year?
Right.
Or in 1.5 years? I think that it would be detrimental to your entire life.
It could be devastating when you think about it.
Now think of the converse of that.
Mm-hmm.
What if you were to write, I'm an intelligent, beautiful person, every single day? Mm-hmm. What if you were to write just that sentence every single day? That simple sentence, nothing more, nothing less, but just that. How would it impact your life? What would change? I am an intelligent, beautiful person. I just think that it would have a world of difference.
And it's interesting because that particular comment led us over probably 1.5 years, honestly, of looking, because we started doing that. Both of us decided from that moment, we're like, all right, let's do this. We're going to pick a sentence and we're going to...
A positive one.
A positive one. Yeah, we didn't pick a negative one. We picked a positive sentence. We both picked something that we wanted to have be reinforced in our life. And then we're gonna write this sentence down every day, and we're gonna see if this has impact. And what it did for us really was it led us to this discovery that streaking is about becoming. That over the course of the last year and a half, your particular sentence has changed to look more intently at what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Mm-hmm. And so the sentence evolved into this constant re-looking and even re-evaluating your streaks to look at it and say, how are these streaks helping me to become who I want to be?
Mm-hmm. To deliberately become who I want to be.
Right.
And I think that's excellently put, because I have seen over the last year and a half, I've changed. I mean, quite significantly on the inside in some areas where I've needed to improve for quite some time. I've wanted to see improvement for quite some time, but haven't really been able to hone in how, because it wasn't really a goal that I could set.
Right.
And so what I in writing this, now I call it the B statement, who I want to be. And it takes me probably about, sometimes if it's a tough night, I'll write one sentence of the B statement. If I have enough time, it really only takes me about 5 minutes to write the whole B statement. And in writing that, it reaffirms to me not only who I want to be, but that the actions that I'm doing are now in concert with who I want to be. So, for example, as you think about and look at who you want to be, I brought this up in one of the other podcasts. As a child, you say, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a fireman. I want to be, maybe a scientist. I want to be a mathematician, an engineer. I want to be a professional athlete. All of these different things that you want to be require some things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. And this is where I get back to just checking the box.
Right.
If you dismiss any one of the things that you're doing as too small, too simple, well, it's just too small and simple, what happens is you really stop doing them. Mm-hmm. And if you stop doing them, then it doesn't help you become who you want to be.
Right.
I mean, would you?
Exactly.
Is that how you see it?
Yeah. And as I looked at, so I examined my streak this morning of the relationship streak I have that I want to. And as I've looked at that streak, there have been days that have gone by that I have just thought about that person or tried to think of a way that maybe I could interact with them or serve them and as I've got to thinking about it, very few times is there something that would be something that I would be able to tell people that I did because of that streak. But those few times happened because I had the streak. Had I not been thinking about it every day, I wouldn't been aware of the opportunities that came my way. And so the things that I have done that would be visible or measurable are only there because of the streak that I've had to think about it every day. Mm-hmm. And that's where I really see the power. So the idea of, well, you're just checking a box. Yes, you are checking a box every day to show that this is something that you want to be in your life every day in a very small way, because it's not something you want to overtake. It's not going to be your whole day, but it is something that over the period and course of your life, you want it to be a part of your life every day.
Absolutely. Some people will ask me, well, how many streaks can you have, or how many streaks do you have? And currently I have 23 streaks. And some people may say, well, wow, that's a lot. Well, I didn't start there. I started with one or two and then built up from there. But each one of them is a simple, small, tiny thing that I want to be daily. And quite a few of them actually stack together to round out a couple of things that I want to be. I call them my streak stacks. They're stacked up. There's 3 or 4 that support one another. For example, I have a streak that I want to write at least one letter weekly. And I also have a streak of write at least one sentence daily, and that sentence is in regards to either in a book or in the letter. And those two stack together to help each other. But then a third one that I stack with it is reading at least one paragraph in a nonfiction book daily. Those 3 stack together to support my overall desire to be intelligent, to have understanding, to be a better writer.
Right.
Those stack together. They're small, they're simple, they're laughably simple. They're not something that, you can see measurable progress in a short period of time. But over the last 2 years, as we've been writing the book together, we now have, over 35,000 words, and it's been cohesive writing that we've edited and gone back over and looked at again. And there's been, I guess what I want to say is there hasn't been a frustration that it's not quite complete yet, because every day we've been working on it and chipping away at it.
Right.
You look like you had a thought.
No, that was good.
That was it?
Yeah, that's great.
So
I think we could spend a whole nother podcast talking about streak stacking. Honestly, that's a concept that we could really take some time to examine.
Absolutely. And that's all the time we have for today.
That is. So the next time you're doing your streaks and you think, am I making any progress or am I just checking the box? Think, yeah, I'm checking the box. I'm checking the box every day because these are the things that I want to be a part of my life every day. And I want to know that I've checked that box every day.
Absolutely. And guess what? We have email addresses that are new for streaking.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we just got this set up. So if you want to email us or let us know how your streak is going, we'd love to feature it on the podcast if you're comfortable with that. Or if you'd rather not and just tell us about it, that's fine too. Our email address, well, mine is Jeffrey, Jeffery, at iamstreaking.com.
And I'm Jami, Jami, at iamstreaking.com.
So that's going to be our new domain. We don't have the website quite set up yet, iamstreaking.com, but we do have our email addresses, website in development, book in development, app in development.
We're just developing all over the place.
Here we go. Well, until next time, thanks so much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you do enjoy or have a question, please drop us an email, Jeffrey at iamstreaking.com or Jami at iamstreaking.com. Until then, keep streaking.
Have a good day.
All these things you wanna do just can't seem to ever focus. All these goals falling through. Did you set a resolution and say this time I'll see it through? But it's January 4th and you're already feeling blue. Go big or go home, they say, but I can show you a simpler way. It's the small and simple things that make the life we live worth living. Among the rush, do one push-up, become a better you. It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping. You're in a hurry,